Good afternoon. It is Tuesday, February 18th, and it's a rainy day in Charleston, West Virginia, but an extraordinarily busy time at the state capitol. Yesterday marked the beginning of the third to last week of the 2020 legislative session, and a lot has been going on at the state capitol. Yesterday, the West Virginia House of Delegates waived the second committee reference for Senate Bill 209. This is the bill that protects individuals, freeholders, and businesses during annexation by ensuring they have their say when municipalities try to annex additional territory. Because the second committee reference was waived, that bill will be up for a passage vote as soon as Thursday of this week. Now, yesterday, the Senate Finance Committee took up long-awaited legislation and a constitutional amendment regarding tangible personal property taxation in West Virginia. This two-part process involves an originating bill and a constitutional amendment. The constitutional amendment, Senate Joint Resolution 9, is enabling legislation. If approved by 2/3 of the House of Delegates and the state Senate and the voters of West Virginia, this would put tangible personal property taxation under the purview of the West Virginia legislature. Accompanying that was originating Bill 4 out of the Senate Finance Committee. This contains several changes to tangible personal property taxation in West Virginia. So let me take just a minute and go through what those are. First, it will begin a 6-year phase out of the tangible personal property taxation on manufacturing machinery, equipment, and inventory, a 6-year phase out on retail inventory, and a 6-year phase out on personal automobiles. Now that all comes up to a price tag of about $294 million at the end of those 6 years. So to replace some of that revenue, what the legislature is proposing is to raise certain tobacco taxes. Cigarette taxes would go from $1.20 to $2 a pack. Other tobacco products would go from 12% wholesale to 50% wholesale, and vaping products would go from 7.5 cents per milliliter to $1 per milliliter. Additionally, the legislature proposes raising the consumer sales tax from 6% to 6.5%. Now, all of those would generate about $200 million in revenue, and this is where it gets a little bit interesting. Because of the way tangible personal property taxation is levied, those tax collections would actually come in a couple years late. So that would enable those tax increases a couple years to go into a special revenue fund and get that jump started. Essentially, under the Senate's plan, if no economic growth was realized, which is unrealistic, there would be fiscal stability for this fund all the way through 2031. It's a conservative estimate that they were looking at yesterday. The West Virginia Chamber is currently polling its membership right now on these specific proposals, but this would provide an avenue to get rid of the tangible personal property taxation that is so problematic for economic growth in West Virginia. We're going to continue to watch that bill go through the legislative process. Again, Senate Joint Resolution 9 will require a 2/3 vote in both the House of Delegates and the state Senate, and it would have to be approved by the voters of West Virginia. And that originating bill is contingent upon the passage and approval of the voters of Senate Joint Resolution 9. So we're continuing to watch this go through the legislative process, and I'll check back in on Friday to give you an update of what has happened. But until then, stay tuned and we'll keep watching at the Capitol.